Okay, how to convert your experiences and build the ideal profile. So what I like to talk about as a career consultant is a positioning. So what does positioning mean? Why is it important? Unfortunately, I've been doing this now for many years, and I see too many people rushing, applying everywhere, and they end up exhausted. Unfortunately, you can't be everyone's type of employee. So this is important to know. You can't please everybody. So take a step back, see where you worked before, and see what you want to do and find the right match. So if you have 10 years of experience in pharma, chances are pharma is going to be your market potential. If you have 10 years of experience in teaching, that's probably going to be your best bet. So I always say, whenever you're going to a foreign country, it doesn't have to be just Switzerland, but whenever you're going to a foreign country, you want to go with what you know very well. So this is not the time to try something new immediately, at least. At the beginning, you want to go with a safe bet. And then once you improve, you can go and train yourself in something new, do something different. But that's when you're settled in a country. So how do you position yourself in a tight market, especially right now? It's definitely tight. I mean, you have to remember that a lot of people are losing jobs as we're speaking. So these people will have to apply locally. Also in Switzerland, you have to put the announcement via the unemployment office. So a lot of those jobs have to be showed to the unemployed workers before it goes out and you can recruit someone externally. So that's also, the Swiss favor the local recruitment, and that's why they have a low unemployment rate. They try to keep it low because they want to recruit locally. They want to make sure that the locals get the offers, etc. So it makes sense, give the jobs to people who are already in Switzerland, who are Swiss nationals, etc. My recommendation to position yourself in a tight market, so I'm not talking about having the work permit and all that, but just putting yourself in a good conditions already. The first thing is that you want to be in a region where there's enough opportunity. So when you come to Switzerland, you don't want to live in the middle of nowhere. And I'm surprised, but I get this on a regular basis where people say, look, I live in the middle of nowhere and I'm looking for a job. This is not going to work for you, especially the companies are looking at your address as a way to see if the commute is going to be workable or not. So you may find that, you know what, I don't care. I'm willing to drive 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. It doesn't bug me. I know, having lived in the US, for example, a lot of people are used to long commute. I mean, it's a big country. But in Switzerland, it's not really common. The Swiss don't really like to commute. So first of all, it's very rare that people will live far away. And if you do and you apply, that will trigger some type of worry that what if you can't make it on time? What if something happens, etc. So living far is not a plus. If you want to get a job, try to live close to a big suburban area like Zurich or like Geneva, where there's enough action going on that you can always find something. But if you live in the middle of the mountains, even if you can commute, it's going to be tough to convince a recruiter. So that's not very positive. As I just said, if you want to do something different, I wouldn't recommend to do it immediately when you arrive, but do that maybe down the road, unless you're stuck and your profession is just completely, I'm thinking right now, people who work in tourism and all these things, if you're working in a sector that's completely decimated and you need to retrain yourself in something new, that's a different story. But again, most of the time I tell people, go with what you know already. That's the easiest way. And number 3, employers will not make an effort to see where you could fit. So you can't apply saying, here's my application and do whatever you want with it. You have to spell it out black on white of what it is that you're looking for. Recruiters won't waste time to say, oh, okay, this person has done all these things and there's all these skills, and yeah, I'm going to take all this and figure something out for this person. It doesn't work. Whether it's an agency, a company, a headhunter, it doesn't matter. Everyone likes to have their information well put together, very clear, ready to go. So it has to be packaged. I like to use the word packaged, or bundled is another term I use a lot, people who know me, because that's what you have to do. You have to bundle it in a way that's eatable. So think about it a little bit like when you get your food, you know, it's all wrapped and ready to eat. We're in the ready to eat generation. We want everything ready. We don't want to have to figure things out. We don't want to have to do any kind of hard work. So we want everything to be fed to us, ready to consume, whatever that is in terms of consumption, you know, ready to watch type of series on television, ready to eat food. So it's the same with employment. Companies want ready to go type of employees. So, you know, your resume is fit for them. You already thought about what they want. You know exactly what to put on there, and they're going to figure it out immediately, and that's it, you know, very clear cut. So I call that having a unique selling proposition. So when you work on your application, and here I want to talk quickly about the resume because it's the heart of the application, really. It's not a resume writing workshop in this event tonight. It's part of what you need to do to be an attractive employee and get a job in Switzerland, but I wanted to make a little piece on it. So you need to have those things. You need to have an attractive header. So something that people can recognize immediately, attractive personality traits and skills. So those are really the terms of your unique selling proposition. So what is a header? So what I mean by a header, it could be the title of the job description. So typically when you apply, you know what that could be based on the job description. So if they want a senior accountant, your CV should say senior accountant. And I really, again, write this down. This is very important. I really don't want people to be creative there. So if a company wants a senior accountant, they want a senior accountant. They don't want an accountant. Now we're talking about sometimes about minute difference. You know, we're talking about millimeters there. You know, a senior accountant and an accountant is not going to be the same. Or if they want a marketing specialist and you have marketing expert or something like that, it's not the same. So make sure you copy really word for word what's in the job description. You could also have a generic title. So if you're applying more in a spontaneous way, make sure to find out what would be the best generic title to use for your profession. I don't really encourage those kinds of applications. I think it could be probably a lot of waste of time nowadays. It's better to have an actual job to apply for, but I wanted to put it in this presentation. Number two is you want to mix your personality and hard skills after the header. So you would have your header like senior accountant or marketing specialist, and then you would have a little bit of personality and hard skills. So let's say you're results driven, or you have capacity to drive performance or something like that. Business applications would be your hard skill, or for example, right now it's really Scrum Master or PeopleSoft or all these things. So really, this is what you need to do. You need to have the header, a few personality traits, a few skills, but very light. Sometimes when I look at people's resume, it's overwhelming. They will have copied every single skill that's on the book. You want it to be yours. You want the resume to be yours. So you don't want to be a book or an agenda of all the skills around your profession. So if you look at, well, we'll take my old job, which was human resources. Imagine if I had a resume with all the different skills within human resources. I mean, there's tons of them. That's not going to help necessarily my future employer when they're looking for maybe a recruiter. So if they're looking for a recruiter, I'm not going to list everything that's in the HR field because it's quite wide. So every profession has a huge array of different skills depending on what you do. So you want to focus on what the company wants. That's extremely, extremely important. I think now, and I keep saying this now in my social media, rather than to try to get a degree somewhere or to think about what is the latest certificate that I need, think more about company needs. So, you know, look at the job description, really analyze the job description, look at the company profile online, and really try to understand where they're coming from and what they're looking for. And I think now people are more in terms of, oh, okay, I need a marketing degree, so let me get a marketing degree. But did you really think about what the company is looking for? Maybe you don't need a marketing degree. Maybe you just need to really understand their needs and just focus on that and offer a solution to that need. So when you're building your resume, think more about solutions. You're bringing solutions to a company pain. So maybe they're having accounting issues, they're flooded, they need an additional resource. because they need to implement a system. Oh, okay, so they're flooded, they need to implement a system. They probably need to put some processes in place to have more time to do other things. So you have to be able to transcribe what the company wants, even though they're not saying it necessarily black and white. So here's a screenshot of what a profile should look like in Switzerland. So details on the left, picture on the right, the header with the skills and everything. Then again, because this is not a resume writing workshop, I won't go into details on each section. But basically, you would have profile and key skills, work experiences, education, and hobbies. So the second page is not very important. The Swiss are really going to look at, do you have a work permit? What is it that you do? Do you speak the languages? These are the first checks when you're doing your CV sorting. And then during the interview, we'll go in a little bit deeper into, where you worked and all these things. But really, the most important is the top part. It's really being able to do this part very well. So you need to spend some time to get that very clear. Still surprised that a lot of people don't put their information on their work permit, their birth date, all these things. So give the information, so that make it easy for the recruiter to say yes, basically. So the more information you display, if you have a good photo, if you're doing this work of being able to bring a solution, all these things, you will be more attractive than someone who's just sending a resume, basically.